Am I the a-hole for canceling my wedding because my fiance made a major life decision without telling me? I hope you can give me some advice. I, 28 female, have been with my fiance, 32 male, for 6 years, and we always talked about moving to a new city someday, but it was something we decided together when the time was right. Last week, out of nowhere, I found out through a mutual friend that he had accepted a job in another state. Not only that, but he had already signed a lease for an apartment without ever mentioning it to me. I was completely blindsided. When I confronted him, he brushed it off like it wasn't a big deal and said, "I figure you'll be fine with it after the wedding." I couldn't believe he thought it was okay to make such a huge decision without even talking to me. He said he didn't want to stress me out before the wedding, which just made me feel even more ignored. It was like my opinion didn't matter at all. This wasn't just about a new job. It felt like a complete betrayal of trust. I had always believed we were a team, making big decisions together, but now I was questioning everything. After a lot of thought, I decided to put the wedding on hold. I needed time to figure out if I could marry someone who would make life-changing decisions without consulting me first. If he can do this now, what would happen in the future? When I told my families and friends, their reactions were mixed. My mom thinks I'm overreacting and that we should just go ahead with the wedding, but my best friend agrees that this is a huge red flag. My fiance, on the other hand, is furious, saying I'm making a big deal out of one little thing. But to me, it's not little. It's a sign of how we might handle important things in the future. So, am I the a-hole for canceling the wedding because he made such a huge decision without me? Or should I forgive him and move forward? I'm torn between feeling justified in my reaction and wondering if I'm being unreasonable. Personally, I think you are being perfectly reasonable. It's a huge red flag that your fiance didn't even mention, first of all, that he got a new job. Secondly, that he accepted another job in another state, and he signed a lease for an apartment for that new job. No mention of it because he didn't want to stress you out because of the wedding. That is BS to me. That's just completely ridiculous. You guys are supposed to be a team, not some individual. Oh, I'm gonna make all the decision here. You're gonna listen to me. You're gonna follow it. No, I don't think so. What about you? Has he thought about what will happen to your life? What happens about your job? What is he expecting you to quit your job and just follow him? I don't think so. Again, like you had mentioned, it should be a team decision. Instead, he made a unilateral decision without any suggestions from you, which is a ridiculous thing. He is definitely not ready for marriage, and you are most definitely in your right to postpone this wedding, because honestly, if it was me, I would not marry this guy, because this guy just sounds like a walking big red flag. But let's see what the comment section have to say. First commenter says, "Not the a-hole. I figured you'll be fine with it after the wedding, as in you're trapped by then." He said he didn't want to stress me out before the wedding, meaning he didn't want a possible refusal on your part to interfere with his plan. Don't marry him, and be grateful that this trait of his personality came to light before you married him. I call it a bullet dodge. I totally agree with that. Another commenter says, "My grandmother always told me as a woman to never uproot where you're from to a different state, where you don't have your safety net, e.g. family and friends. It is an isolation tactic by some men. We had a family friend go through that. At first, it was verbally abused, then it turned physical. She escaped with her life after realizing that the children, boys, were copying their father with verbal abuse towards her. She had custody of the children. The children are adults now. OP is dodging a bullet." I completely agree. Seriously, does this fiance think that this OP is just gonna follow him blindly just because he's a man and he needs to make all the decisions? That is completely ridiculous, and this makes me so angry. Moving on. Another commenter says, "Not only was he applying for and accepting a job out of state is a huge flag, but signing a lease on an apartment, not talking to you first about it at all, and expecting you to be okay with all of it is a huge sign of profound disrespect. I also wouldn't have put it past him to start losing the mask more often and slowly ramping up the abusive behavior once he got you isolated because he thinks he got you trapped by marriage. Good for you on postponing/canceling the wedding. Don't go back to him in any way, shape, or form. I completely agree with that. Another commenter asked the same question to the OP that I was wondering. The commenter says, not the a-hole. What about your job, your family, friends, your life? Sounds like he was just expecting you to fall in line like a good little wifey once you were married. OP says, exactly. It feels like he didn't consider how this would impact my entire life. Marriage should be a partnership where both people's lives and choices are respected, not just one person making all the decisions. A follow-up commenter says, your feels are exactly this. I am the man of the house once we are married. My desire, needs, and accomplishments will be met first. Your opinion is just decoration and doesn't hold value. This is exactly what he took away from you. Your mom is focusing on the wedding and not what comes after. This would have all been moot had he shared the fact that he was planning on applying for this job. When he got the job, you had some say in where you will be living. He took your power away, sis. This is a huge red flag. I completely agree. What do you guys think of this situation? What would you do in OP's situation? Do you think that OP was right for postponing/canceling the wedding? Or do you think she is overreacting? Let me know in the comment section. And if you like these types of stories, remember to continue to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later.